Remember on Monday I told you there was some polling out in America over the weekend putting Donald Trump really quite well ahead of Joe Biden in the presidential race in 5 of the 6 key swing states. A reflection that Trump actually is doing quite well. The more they victimize him, the more popular he becomes. But it also shows that actually confidence in Biden is falling. But his party, the Democrats, last night exceeded all expectations. In Virginia, which has always been a bellwether of what's to come, despite having a Republican governor, quite a well-known one, in Glenn Youngkin, actually the Democrats now control both of the houses. And those results were repeated across many states in America. Well, joining me to discuss why this happened and what it means is Dave Rubin, American commentator and host of his own political talk show, The Rubin Report. And he joins me live from Miami. Dave, thank you and welcome to the show. Let's start with Virginia. You know, Glenn Youngkin won that gubernatorial race, quite a popular figure. He told Donald Trump, keep out of Virginia, we can handle this. What went wrong?
Nigel, Virginia is a really, really bizarre one. Youngkin is not only really popular, but, you know, if you look at his election, which was less than 2 years ago when he became governor of Virginia, 3 or 4 days before, he was getting crushed in the polls. It was only until he really leaned into the anti-woke stuff, in his case, specifically about gender pronouns and girls and boys bathrooms and the rest of it, that he got the parents behind him, and then he won pretty solidly. And by most estimations, people have been saying, oh, this is great from, let's say, a conservative perspective. You know, it looks like Virginia is going to start really leaning red, more in line with, say, Florida, where I am. So what happened yesterday is really, really bad. I mean, conventional wisdom on this thing is that the Republicans, as disgusted as many people are with the Democrats, when you see the real radicalism of the left and what I call the Hamas caucus, and the fact that Joe Biden clearly is not the functioning president of the United States, despite all of that stuff, somehow the Republicans have a really bad branding problem. And you mentioned before the break that abortion seems to be coming back as an issue, which is really unfortunate because regardless of where you sit on abortion specifically, you know, if you think about what the government is supposed to do, say, protect our borders, have some sort of economic policy, you know, the things that government's really there for, abortion, I know it's very close held to heart for all people, but it shouldn't really be that high up on your apex of important issues to deal with because it's not something the government should have that much to do with. So it's a non-winner for the Republicans, unfortunately, and I think they're starting to pay the price for it.
Yeah, it's a big problem, isn't it? I mean, the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade. They put it back to the states, which you could argue actually was a very democratic decision to say to people in states,
absolutely,
you can decide.
100%.
However, it's being seen that this was a Republican move, that Republicans want to ban abortion completely. And I thought the other result, Dave, that was really interesting was the ballot measure, the referendum that took place in Ohio, where by quite a clear majority, you know, they voted to keep, as they put it on their side of the argument, reproductive rights in the state of Ohio. And the real problem here is, in some of the really strong Trump voting areas, there were big turnouts to vote that abortion should be allowed to continue. So the party's got itself in a real mess with this. And my worry, Dave, is you go into next year to the presidential election, and there'll be ballot measures like this in 10 states, 20 states, 30 states that'll push the turnout up. They're in real trouble on this, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a great point because the more they put these ballots and these initiatives and attach them to a presidential election, if you think that abortion is one of the important things which you vote on, which again, I unfortunately think that a lot of people do think that it shouldn't be. There are way more important things the government should be dealing with. But if you put that up there as that apex issue to vote for, then people will vote on abortion more importantly than who they would vote for presidential politics. So you're also right, by the way, that, you know, when Roe v. Wade was reversed, it was the solid Democratic position, meaning you kick things to the states that are not designated in our founding documents to the federal government. So we've done that right. And every state, look, I'm here in Florida. We have a heartbeat bill at 6 weeks. Some states like California have quite literally 8-month abortions. You can decide for yourself what you think is more radical. But we do know, especially with urban and suburban women, middle-class women, abortion is just up there, and it will supersede what they feel about the economy, what they feel about the borders, and almost everything else.
Yeah, no, this is. I mean, Donald Trump himself recognizes this. He is aware that, whilst the pro-life position is an absolutely respectable, decent position held by many Americans, it is a minority position, even amongst conservative Republican voters. Moving on to Dave, I mean, you, in recent times, have lost confidence in Donald Trump being the candidate, and yet there isn't going to be anybody else, is there?
Well, I'm not so sure of that. I mean, well, first, I should say, as you know, Nigel, and we discussed it when I saw you in London last week, I voted for Trump. I like Trump. If he is the nominee, I'm going to support Trump. Yeah. I am here in Florida, a state that is by far the most functional state in the nation, where we believe in law and order, where we did right on COVID, where we've gotten ESG out of our system, where we fought woke and fought Disney and all of those things. I think Ron DeSantis at 45 years old is ready for a generational change, which I think desperately needs. I also think, as I'm sure you know, Kim Reynolds in Iowa, a super popular governor in Iowa, she just endorsed Ron DeSantis, which, if I'm to believe that he's down by 50 points, that's quite an odd move by Kim Reynolds. I mean, why would she go all in on him? So, look, I don't know what's going to happen. We don't vote for another 2 months, right? That primary is not for 2 months. I do think that the polls are a little, let's say, shady. But look, Nigel, you've been in politics for a long time. You know that nothing matters until people get into that ballot box. But either way, whether it's DeSantis or it's Trump, it will be better than Biden or whoever they decide to replace him with. And I'm still not convinced he's even going to be the nominee. So we just need someone that will push us a little bit back towards sanity, because the Democrats, much like your Labor Party, the left in America has gone completely bananas, and until we stop letting the inmates run the asylum, we will continue that slow descent to hell with them.
Dave Rubin, thanks for joining me. And I wonder, actually, I don't think Biden is going to be their candidate, but maybe after last night they'll think, oh, we're doing quite well under him. Dave, come and join us again very soon, please. Thank you.